Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to put an invisible zipper in, and the first step we need to do is prep our fabric. So the directions say for this sample to cut a 9x9 piece of fabric and then to fold it in half, cut it in half, and finish two of the long sides with the serger. So I've done that much. Then it says to fold and press each of these finished edges to the inside 5/8 inch. So I've marked on my seam gauge 5/8 inch, and I'm going to press this. And what this does is it kind of lays the marking path for where our zipper is going to be placed. So a zipper is a closure on a seam. And so if you think about like a dress or a skirt, wherever an invisible zipper might go, the lower half where there is no zipper will be sewn at 5/8 inch. The bottom of your dress, the bottom of your skirt, but the top will be where the zipper is. So we need to continue that folded edge where the zipper is going to be placed at that same seam allowance of 5/8 inch. So you're going to press both of them under. So the next thing I want you to do is just mark where your zipper is going to go and where the fabric is going to be put together. So we're doing a sample. The zipper will not go the entire way. You can see if I line the zipper up to the very top, which is where I want it, the tape is touching the top of the fabric, and I come down, the zipper actually stops right here. This means that from this point, I'm going to mark it here, down, my fabric will be sewn together. And if it was a dress, it would continue down further and further and further, or a skirt, and we have just this top opening where we need it to open and close. So that's where we're putting the zipper. So by marking those two pieces, now I can place them together, right sides together, and I'm going to sew right at 5/8 inch from, I can see through it a little bit, from here down. I'm going to back stitch, I'm going to sew like normal, just to get the bottom of my seam in place. All right, so I sewed just the bottom section at 5/8 inch. And again, on a normal outfit, you would have a little bit further at least to go where the seam was closed. And then this is the opening where I want to put a zipper. So I did this so you could see, just like when you make an outfit, you're going to have this opening and you need to figure out how to place the zipper. So what I do is I take my invisible zipper, I open it and turn it upside down. I'm going to start with one side. We work with one side at a time, and I want to make sure the tape is facing the seam allowance, the raw edge that is, and I'm placing the teeth right where my pressed edge was, which I mentioned was going to be our marker. So I've got my tape even with the top, my teeth even with my pressed 5/8 inch line, and my tape is also facing that raw edge, and I'm going to very carefully pin it. And I want you to try to still pin perpendicular because it makes it easier to sew. So I'll come down here, make sure it's nice and smooth. It's a little hard with the ironing board cover because I'm stabbing it too, like that, and then continue down. And you're gonna go down until you can't pin anymore. And then we're going to sew just this side first. So remember to make sure everything's aligned, still straight, still pinning along your pressed guideline of 5/8 inch, like this. Okay, so now I am going to get my invisible zipper foot. It looks like this kind of block shape. I'm going to swap out my feet, just place this one back here, and then just push my threads to the back. So for the sewing part of this, I think it's the easiest part. You're just going to place the groove of the zipper teeth into the groove of the presser foot. I'm going to lower my needle, make sure I'm all aligned, and then of course I'm going to backstitch first. And you kind of want to help it get started and getting into that groove. And you know how we ironed it over? I'm helping it just a little bit continue to go that way. And I'm also helping my zipper to stay on that pressed edge. I don't want it to go wiggling around. That's easier said than done. I'm just sewing along the one side only, as far as I can go, which isn't the whole way. As you can see, I stop where I can't sew anymore and I backstitch. And then when I take it out, you can see I did pretty good. Got a little skinny at one point, but not so bad. It's a little bit trickier with this small sample. So then we'll trim our threads, then we're gonna pin the other side. Okay, so now the tricky part, making sure you place the other side in the correct spot. So if I lay my right side of fabric out, I should not be able to see the side I just sewed in. You can see it's right there. I put my zipper hole down here. I can see where it's supposed to go, right along here. I think that helps just to place it, and then we can flip it over and see what we're working with. So if I open it up, this is my placement right here. It's very, very, very important that the top, move it so you can see a little better, is lined up with the same point. So my other side of my zipper was right at the top. So that means this side has to be right at the top, or my zipper will not align when I go to close it. So then I'm gonna work my way down, pinning and making sure that the zipper teeth are touching that pressed edge. And then I'm going to sew this side the same way. So for this side, I can go in the opposite groove of the presser foot. Kind of takes a second to get it in position, I think. And again, I'm going to help press it into that groove and keep it aligned to my pressed mark. Especially when the pins are out, I'm going to make sure it's good. And then I can't sew anymore, so I backstitch. So I switched to the standard zipper foot, and then I'm gonna actually close my zipper a little bit and just do one seam allowance at a time. Move my needle over, and then I'm gonna try to sew as close to the zipper teeth as I can, just for this small section. So that's good. I patched that side, and then I will flip to this side and do the same thing, so I don't have a hole. Nice and close to the zipper, and patch the hole. So then you'll see in one moment that when I look, it's still invisible, but now I don't have that hole at the bottom. It looks good.